It's one step forward and two steps back with your Minnesota Twins this year, and this Detroit Tigers series was no exception. On the bright side, the Chicago White Sox are up next, so maybe there's a chance for the Twins to get going in the right direction. But for now, we got to look at what has already happened. This is Locked On Twins.
You are Locked On Twins, your daily Minnesota Twins podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Well, hi. Thanks for coming back. It's Locked On Twins, and I'm your host, Brandon Warren. You can unfollow me on Twitter at Brandon_WARNE. And joining me, as he is wont to do, is Mr. Dave Brown at Answer Dave Brown on the tweets, in the Zeets. You got him. How's it going?
Hi, Brandon. Oh, it seems like kind of the same story over and over again, doesn't it, for the Minnesota Twins?
Yeah, instead of watching the Twins game tomorrow, I think I might just pop in my VHS of Groundhog Day so we can just keep watching the same thing over and over again, because that's what it feels like this team is right now. And we're going to go into depth, much depth, on what's happening and how we might try to fix it. And who knows, maybe just facing the White Sox will fix a lot of problems. But thanks for making Locked On Twins your first listen every day. We're free and available wherever you get your podcasts, as well as on YouTube. Hi, YouTube. We love to have you on YouTube watching us, whether it's our live premiere or after the fact. Give us a like, give us a thumbs up, hit subscribe, all that fun stuff. We're also part of the Locked On Podcast Network, which is your team every day. And today's episode brought to you by eBay Motors. From brakes to exhaust kits and beyond, eBay Motors has over 122 million parts to keep your ride alive. With all the parts you need at the prices you want, it's easy to bring home that big win. So keep your ride alive at ebaymotors.com. Eligible items only. Exclusions apply. eBay guaranteed fit. Only available to U.S. customers. And Dave, I want to start off with the final game of the Tigers series. The weekends get tricky because it's easier for us to kind of finagle time to do these shows. And beyond that, it's hard to really drum up a lot of new content on this Twins team when they keep kind of losing the same way. And instead of losing the same way, Sunday, they just went out, fell behind, 4-0 after 3 innings. Basically, Louis Varland got the gate, and the only run scores on an Austin Martin home run to the left in the 9th, his first of his major league career. But again, some common themes: Louis Varland digging a hole, Twins offense not filling it back in, so on and so forth. Your thoughts?
Well, it's like, which would you rather worry about more? The repeated misadventures of Louis Varland in the rotation, or the offense, again, not having much of an answer? Now, Casey Mize, who picked up, I think, his first win in like 3 years, which just sounds bad.
Yeah.
But, he's been hurt. He hasn't had a lot of opportunities. And he's been pitching well. He pitched well. If you've been watching since spring training, he pitched well against the Twins then, too. So it kind of seemed like maybe this was coming. It's funny, during the broadcast, Justin Morneau made a point of, to say that, he's pitching great right now, but he's only logged like 20 innings in the last 3 years. How are they going to do this at the end of the year? Is he going to just disappear one day and we're not going to see Casey Mize until 2025? It's almost like the Twins are kind of hoping for everyone to regress to them so they don't have as far to catch up. It's that's kind of where the hope is right now. It isn't so much that the Twins are going to come back on everybody. It's that, the Tigers will come to earth. They won't have Casey Mize in August. So it's only a matter of time. So that's kind of where, that's obviously not going to be good enough. And Rocco
Right.
said as much after the game. He's like, we're feeling the urgency now. I think it was put to him in a question form of, is Louis going to make his next start in AAA, or is he going to make another start for the Twins? And Rocco really didn't answer the question. So, he also knows that there's a lot more things wrong than just Louis. So it's they're the Twins, they are aware of the urgency of the situation. It's just a matter of what can they do, what do they have to, what new parts can they put in? Is it going to matter right now? And we'll see.
And it's not as though Mize was unhittable or anything like that. He obviously has the draft pedigree, the prospect pedigree, and that sort of thing. And again, injuries, he's battled injuries. Tariq Skubal has battled injuries. Matt Manning has been a bit of a disappointment. But again, the Twins just could not make him pay. And it started out right away in the first inning. Larnach walks, Buxton singles, Kirilloff walks. And you got Martin lining back to the pitcher, Willie Castro flying out to center. I swear this team must lead the league in 80-mile-per-hour exit velocity, routine fly balls in general, or at least when there's runners on. There's just – and again, I know an average fan's going to say, it feels like there's no urgency. It feels like there's no approach. It just feels like that's how these games sequence themselves now. Got a couple guys on. It's time for the hit a lazy fly ball to Riley Green play. It's no different than calling a halfback dive when it's 3rd and 1. I feel like that's predestined, and it actually has manifested in a tweet that I retweet every now and then called, "All right, Twins have the bases loaded. You know what that means? It's time to drink exactly one beer and call 911," because that's a drill tweet from I don't remember what else, what it's from. Something. It's
probably not the Twins, but
no, he says it's the weekend, baby. Time to call 911 after drinking precisely one beer. It feels like though, bases are loaded, and all of a sudden it's going to be 2-3 quick outs or one quick out. I don't get it. It's just, again, to baseball fans who don't understand that it's not going to stay this way all year, it's still immensely frustrating to people like us who know that it's not going to stay that way.
Well, and there's something to be said for, how it's not going to quite stay this way all year, but at the same time, that doesn't necessarily mean it's going to be good enough for the Twins to win if they don't play better. It's not just that, it can't get any worse because it's so bad now. It's, even if it does get better, is that going to be good enough? I mean, the Guardians are off to a pretty good start. The Tigers are off to a decent start. Certainly they're better than for playing the Twins than they otherwise would have been. As far as this game, if you want to pick it apart a little bit, the TV broadcast, the guys made a good analogy, I think, or maybe a proper analogy about, you mentioned the opportunities against Mize early in the game, and they sort of likened it to Justin Verlander, even in his younger days with the Tigers. That's when you could get to a guy like Verlander early in the game. And that was true with Roger Clemens. I remember people saying that a lot. I don't know how often it happened, but the guys with the big fastballs, you could get to them in the first inning. They weren't throwing as hard as they were. They kind of built up their speed a little bit. And that's when you could strike and get something on the board. And the offense, just as you said, is more in tune with hitting the medium fly ball than anything else. But that's kind of when they had their opportunity to maybe turn the game on its head a little bit, and they didn't do it. And then, after that, Mize settled in pretty nicely. So, but the Twins make opportunities for themselves, but the best they can get is, just more frustration right now. So that's just what they're doing at the plate.
I don't have the strikeout figures for these sample sizes, but 0 for 16 with runners in scoring position their last 2 games, 2 for 24 in the series, and so 2 for 8 in the first game of the series, which was probably the most frustrating, and we'll talk about that in a bit. But again, I'm begging for just one time when they go to Manny Margot in the 8th inning against a lefty for it to work, because it's literally causing Twins fans who already think Rocco is a spreadsheet manager. Well, why did you take him out and put in Margot? Margot hit a lazy fly ball. Larnach could have done that. It's like the platoon button just doesn't work for the Twins. It's been disconnected and nobody told Rocco, and he's pushing the button and nothing's happening. And honestly, Dave, if anything is driving me crazy this season, it's just that nothing is working the way the numbers say it should.
And I'm not sure if if he hadn't made a change there, it would have mattered. It's just not. There's what works or what is supposed to work isn't working, and the alternative isn't really a solution either.
It's even less likely.
Yeah, it's even less likely. Maybe something would have worked out at some point. It's somebody, you made fun of a fan who asked if Kepler could pitch. That's he was kind of missing the point, but originally. But in a way, it's like, no, I feel like no matter who they go to, as far as the people who are about to come back, I don't know if they're going to make that big a difference. Royce Lewis being on the bench or being on the injured list, and Carlos Correa being on the injured list, those guys are difference makers. I'm not sure if there are enough other difference makers to make a difference while they're out. So, I'm not going to get excited about Max Kepler either, I guess, until he shows something, because he wasn't showing anything either while he was on the field.
Yeah, I think that's fair, although it sounds like his return is imminent. And so it's at least something, which is better than nothing. Let's take a quick pause, read a couple spots. When we come back, I want to ask you about Louis Varland and what you think about his short-term future. We're going to talk about, I want to hash out game one, because there were some really, really frustrating elements of that game to me that may have been even more frustrating than just the fact that the team lost. So we'll do that. And then we'll also come back at some point here and talk about the White Sox, because they're 3-18. And if anything can make you play better baseball, it's playing the White Sox. But again, let's take a quick pause and we'll be right back. Passion, drive, and patience are what bring home the winning trophy, and also what keep your ride alive. eBay Motors has everything you need to maintain your vehicle and level it up to peak performance. Whether you need a supercharger, roof rack, exhaust kit, LED headlights, or whatever you need, whether you're into power, speed, or style, eBay Motors has you covered. And with over 122 million, yes, that's million parts for your number one ride, you'll always find exactly what you're looking for. And with eBay's Guaranteed Fit, your part is guaranteed to fit your ride no matter what, every time, or you get your cash back. Because with eBay Motors, you're burning rubber, not cash. With all the parts you need at the prices you want, it's easy to turn your car into the MVP and bring home that W. So keep your ride alive at ebaymotors.com. Eligible items only. Exclusions apply. eBay's Guarantee Fit is only available to U.S. customers. And Dave, as we've said, I am a competitive individual, and that applies to our newest sponsor, which is Monopoly Go. And so if you are looking to find another mobile game that's going to be right up your alley for some fun, this is the way to go.
I always wanted to beat a little dog. Can you beat a little dog in a mobile game?
I think so. I like the thimble personally, but my competitive side is a big fan of Monopoly Go, and I'm sure you've heard of it because it's been downloaded over 150 million times. But if you're not one of those people, now's the time. It's a great twist on Monopoly where you play on not one, but hundreds of Monopoly boards in crazy locations, building up amazing cities that bring you big money. But the best part is messing with my friends. Yeah, you thought I didn't have any. Joke's on you. I can charge them rent on my iconic properties, just like the classic Monopoly, but I can also rob their vaults of riches for myself. It's a real
awful person. Stop it, Brandon.
Yeah, and so the leaderboards, though, will show me who the biggest tycoon is. It's almost like, I wonder if I should go see what that guy's got for me to swipe. But it's not just my competitive side that loves it. You can team up with friends and people all around the world in timed tournaments to earn huge rewards. So get in the game and join your friends. Download Monopoly Go free on the App Store and Google Play. Dave, I like to poke around what I still call Roto World. I guess it's technically considered NBC fantasy sports.
Heard of it, yeah.
But I was reading about Louis Varland, and I was looking at the numbers, and it's funny that it's to get a player out of the rotation is weird. It's when the Twins signed Sidney Ponson a number of years back, I think they gave him like 6 or 7 starts. Jason Marquis was similar. Ramon Ortiz got a little bit more of a run. But when it comes to younger guys, guys you can option, guys you didn't take a flyer on out of the 99-cent bin over at your local gas station, it's a little different. But we're now almost a handful of starts in with Louis Varland, and the results are not only not good, but they're actively bad. Roto World was speculating maybe Varland could move to the bullpen. Now, as we've stated on this show ad nauseum, the bullpen really doesn't need more bodies. You can argue that some of the guys could be better, and I'm not going to fight you over that, but they don't really have room to accommodate Varland right now, and especially not with Duran coming back. Hopefully in the near future, he's going to be on a rehab here right quick. Topa, I'm ready to say, hey, Louis, go get things figured out in St. Paul. And I think what I would do is activate Max Kepler, send Varland out, and then you make the move for Simeon Woods Richardson in 4 days. Would be the first game of the Angels series for, like I said, SWR. Or you could go get a reliever, although is anybody healthy enough to even go get? Although you do have a 40-man spot, if you put Daniel Duarte on the 60. But again, are you going to use that 40 later for Brooks? I mean, it's all fluid. What are you doing with Louis Varland if a move is made before first pitch tomorrow?
What are you doing with Louis Varland, man? It's not cool.
Cool, man. I think we're a day late for not
420. Yeah. What are you guys doing in that van with Louis Varland? I saw smoke.
Don't worry about it, man.
I think you can think about this in terms of what the team needs and what's best for him. And I think it is best for him, if you want to use that first, to keep him starting and working on it, and doing that in AAA. Yep. They're not desperate for a bullpen arm. Plus, like you said, Duran will be coming back maybe this week, in a few days. If that wasn't happening, and if, I think under other circumstances, maybe you would put him in the bullpen, and maybe we'll see that this year. We might very well see it again at some point. But I think he's still his stuff before this game was good for 2 strikes, and then he couldn't put guys away. Today, Sunday, he wasn't really able to get anything over the plate.
Felt a little like Phil Hughes at his worst.
Right. And, Phil Hughes, when he doesn't have his command, was not, you didn't want to see that. Right. So I think he's obviously still got some talent, but, and he's still youthful enough, and he hasn't had enough opportunities where you say, well, that's it. We're not going to start him anymore. Maybe depending on how the rest of the season goes, the Twins won't want to put him in the big league rotation again. That could be, depending on how things work out. But long term, I still think Louis Varland trying to be a starting pitcher is better for him, better for the organization. So,
well, it might end up being a Tyler Duffy, Trevor May kind of thing.
That could be too. That could be. But for the moment, I think you send him back to AAA and let him continue to start. And I think that very well could be the move, like you say, with Kepler coming back very soon. So I kind of am in favor of that. I would be surprised if it's not something like that.
When you say youthful enough, it reminds me of how you used to say Seth Smith. Seth Smith. So he's youthful.
Did I say youthful?
Youthful.
He's a youthful pitcher, but he's also youthful.
Well, because our daughter just lost this tooth here. She's 6. Yeah. And so everything she says sounds like that. And so that's what's triggering it in my brain is,
I couldn't make fun of people who lisp, but you reminded me of Seth Smith, and I used to say Seth Smith all the time. But Louis is going to be a useful and a youthful guy. So, he's still in his mid-20s. So that's sort of what I was thinking there.
Okay. Well, you could also send out Jair Camargo, who's really kind of rotting on their bench. You could, so you could send out both him and Varland, bring up a pitcher. Now, at last check, and admittedly I haven't looked, the only healthy pitcher on the 40 was SWR. Stalmont has been activated an option, so he's an option. If you put somebody on the IL, you can bring Alcala back, but I don't know how quickly they want to do that. So there are some options here. I wonder if I might say, hey, listen, Louis, you're going to St. Paul. Camargo, you're going to St. Paul. We'll bring up well, no, you can't bring up Alcala then in that case because you didn't put anybody on the IL.
Well, how much longer is that stipulation in place? Because it's been a few days for Alcala, has it not? Or are the days just
so it's 10
crammed together?
It's 10 days. He was optioned on, what is it, 4/14, it looks like. So you do only have a couple more days.
Yeah.
I don't know why it feels like maybe the days are just kind of blending together because they keep playing the same exact game. But yeah, you could bring Alcala up within a couple days. So why don't you I would say you do this. You send out Varland, bring back Kepler, and then you bring back Alcala and Woods Richardson in favor of Camargo. And then, maybe you send out, I don't know who you send out after that, though, because Austin Martin has been pretty solid, homered for the first time in today's game. You could send out Willie Castro, but you don't have enough shortstops to do that. He's playing terribly. I don't think they're ready to DFA anybody. So it could get tricky here a little bit, but I think Varland for Kepler would be the move for me right now.
And it doesn't have to be for that long. It can be for less than a week or whatever. And then you, like you said, they have who comes back to the rotation or not the rotation, but I don't know. Duran comes back to the bullpen. So
Duran and Topa,
right?
You'd be okay.
So but you have kind of brought up some things like how much longer can they go with Castro? How much longer can they go with Farmer? At least in roles that are significant. Is there somebody? Should they be maybe pushed to the back of the bench for a while? I don't know what you do at shortstop if one of those guys doesn't play anymore, though. So all of a sudden, all that depth they had, it doesn't seem like it's that deep.
No, it can go away pretty fast. Let's take a quick pause. We come back. I have White Sox Twins probables. White Sox are 3-18. I can't continue to overemphasize that. And maybe I'm rubbing it in a little bit. And then a couple guys the Twins could have or maybe even should have signed are off to pretty good starts, including one guy who pitched Sunday on Sunday Night Baseball on ESPN. So we'll take a quick look at all of that here in just a moment. But first, a word from FanDuel. It's playoff time in the NBA. If you're not listening to Locked On Wolves, you are missing out. The Wolves had a huge Game 1 victory over the Phoenix Suns. So it's playoff time in the NBA. It's also the NHL. I was at the XL Energy Center last night, but it was not for wild playoff hockey because that's not going to be a thing. But baseball also in full swing, and FanDuel is your place to bet on all of these games. Right now, new customers get $150 in bonus bets guaranteed. Win, lose, draw, you get $150 in bonus play no matter what. So bet on everything from slap shots to home runs to slam dunks, all on an app that is safe, secure, and easy to use. What are you waiting for? Yes, visit FanDuel.com/lockedon and make your first bet an automatic win, like facing the 2024 White Sox. FanDuel is America's #1 sportsbook. All right, Dave, we're coming down the home stretch here, and Sonny Gray struck out 12. He's got a 1.04 ERA through 3 starts. I'm not saying you got to cry for him or anything like that, but again, it's certainly notable that he's pitching well. But also, Michael Lorenzen was pretty good against the Braves tonight. 7 strikeouts. Only damage was a 3-run homer to Marcelo Ozuna, who is hitting everything in sight. So I mean, it's certainly when you look at a Twins team that has 2 and or maybe 2.5 interesting. Actually, no, I'm going to say 2. It's only 2 rotation spots that are up in the air. Bailey Ober's been really good the last few starts. To have 2 guys pitch like that this weekend and to have the Twins have 2 guys who are not pitching very well, I see why fans would be a little bit rankled over that.
That still doesn't do anything. That still doesn't make the offense score any more runs, though.
True, right?
So I mean, they could, certainly they could have used some better starts from Louis and Paddock, but getting the offense to score more runs, that those two things don't have anything to do with each other. So there's only like so much outrage I can muster. With the White Sox coming to town, it's they are every bit as bad as, what's their record?
3-18.
3-18. Yeah, they're that bad. So the worst thing the Twins could do would be like to get themselves psyched up, like, oh, well, not so much like we got it made, but like, oh, we really ought to go to town on these guys. I can't wait to like get a hit every time up and then psych themselves out of that. I mean, that's the way the Twins are going. I guess I'd put a decent, I wouldn't put a bet on that, but I'd say there's a possibility that's going to happen. And the Twins are going to underachieve in this series too. So, but the White Sox are, even their good pitcher, I shouldn't say that, Garrett Crochet, he started out really good. He's regressing quite a bit. I don't think they're going to see him though, or maybe they are. I don't know, but it doesn't. He's left-hander. They're all kind of bad after that anyway. So I mean, they don't. If you look at their lineup, they have, I think, 2 hitters who are with OPS over 700. I want to say
Paul DeYoung is one of them.
Paul DeYoung and Gavin Sheets. I think those are the 2 guys.
Hey, that's the Gavin Sheets breakout that I predicted.
Did you? I mean, I wouldn't. It's still early.
Oh, yeah. No, I'm just patting myself on the back because nobody else will.
Right. Well, wait. Where are you? My hand can't go over it. So they're pretty bad.
We're only getting half of you, by the way. You're kind of off the screen.
Oh, I'm leaning off the side? Yeah, it's...
Come on, Eileen.
I sprung a leak like the Titanic.
Hey. Game 1 of this series just ticked me off, man.
Yeah, what was it about it? I was meaning to ask you. I'm like, did we go over that? Or did
No. Well, so Torkelson gets an infield hit. Julian dives, throws home, short hops Vasquez. Vasquez misses it. And everyone's just like, oh, of course, unserious baseball team. And it's like, that's a baseball play. Like, that just happens. It's hard to catch a short hop. It's even hard to catch a long hop with those mitts. It happens. They throw out Torkelson. It is what it is. So they're up 1-0 on kind of a wonky play. Larnett comes back and homers. Parker Meadows, I got to make sure I get the right Meadows, walks on a pitch that was very clearly a strike, steals second when Mark Canha strikes out on a throw that Julien couldn't handle. Wensiel Perez.
Also a short hop, correct?
Yep.
Yeah.
Perez jam shot to left, drives home Meadows. Carpenter jam shot to left, scores Perez. They're up 3-2. They tack on a triple to center, and then Gary Carpenter, I want to say again, a jam shot to left. So again, I mean, probably going to score anyway, nobody out, runner on third. So I'm not begrudging it. But again, they didn't pepper any of those balls. Then you got the Buxton double to left that he watched, and everybody just got ticked about, which I was like, you know what? I understand getting caught up in that moment. You guys are struggling so much that I get it. Anyway, top of the 9th, you got.
He had been like 0 for 34 or something against the Tigers,
right? Yeah.
I think that was the where that he was like, "Oh my God, I finally got one." Kind of he was so mad at himself anyway by the time he got to second base.
Why beat him up?
And it wasn't consequential that I'm not going to get, there's plenty of times that Byron Buxton is going to make an out where you can be mad.
And so Caleb Thielbar comes in for the 9th, gets McKinstry to fly out and Carson Kelly to strike out. So you got 2 outs. Meadows sneaks a single to right. And then you have maybe the worst pickoff throw you will see with Thielbar, where I understand Santana playing off the base like he does. I played first base. And I like to play off the base because it gave me a little more of a fluid move to cut off the lane or to just like turn myself and position myself to field in either direction. But I think giving a moving target to a pitcher throwing over can also be problematic. Thielbar throws it down the line. So, of course, Meadows goes to second. They walk Canha. Perez dumps a single, Meadows scores, they take the lead, and it's over at this point. The Twins get a Castro walk, he steals second, and then Vasquez does what Vasquez does.
That was an unforced error on a play that was really unnecessary.
Yes.
That is pissing you off. Excuse me.
No, by all means. It did.
I mean, that's where it comes from. I mean, there's lots of stuff where, maybe you hit into bad luck or you're just not going right. But that is something that the Twins could have prevented, not done, either individually or collectively, and that's why you're upset.
And all 5 of those runs were like, I don't even want to say manufactured. Just they were. You'd rather win ugly than lose pretty, and that's exactly what the Tigers did. But that's the difference between the Twins winning the first 2 and today being a much more light and easy, day than, oh, geez, now we've lost literally 1 step forward, 2 steps back. I don't know. Again, I said, you can only shoot yourself in the foot so many times before you realize it's never going to heal again.
Ow. I'm looking at my foot, imagining it being full of bullet holes.
It's not good.
It's not good. Maybe there is something to be said for, smart defense as a pitcher, if you're Theo Bar, and maybe there's something to be said for thinking more at the plate about hitting in situations and not necessarily trying to jerk a home run with 2 strikes. Maybe there's a mental reset. I don't know if the Twins need like a group outing or something to Top Golf, or maybe Pablo or Lopez needs to put on one of his shows or whatever team things, but they need something to reset and pretend like the first 2.5 weeks of the season didn't happen.
Oh, hey, Paddock and Cannon going to be a real wild one here on Monday to open the series. We're out of time. This has been Locked On Twins, and we'll see ya tomorrow night.